This is a practical guide for business owners on Hermes Agents. Hermes essentially is a 24/7 AI employee that can live inside of your business, has extreme context on your business, can interact with all of your different tools, and continuously learns and improves like a real employee. Now, in this video, I'm going to cover what Hermes is, why Hermes is extremely powerful. After that, I'm going to show you how to set it up in a super simple way. After that, I'm going to show you how to connect it to Telegram or any other platform you interact with. From there, I'm going to show you how to connect all of your different tools in your ecosystem to this agent so it can interact with them. After that, I'm going to show you how to add context about your business to this agent. And then finally, I'm going to leave you with 3 powerful use cases for Hermes. So, first of all, what is Hermes and what does it do? Well, first of all, it is an autonomous AI agent built by Noose Research. And essentially, it's an agent that can live in your server and it gets smarter every single day. Essentially, it's going to live on your server. You can also have this on your computer, but I recommend keeping it on a server so it's running 24/7. And then can learn from your projects and context in your business. And essentially, it builds its own skills. So you'll tell it to do something once, and then it is going to learn and get better. And then the next time that you tell it to do something like a real employee, it's going to understand how to actually do it. So, the difference between this Hermes agent and an LLM like ChatGPT or Claude is ChatGPT or a chatbot waits for you to ask it something. It forgets typically between chats what you said, and it's really one conversation at a time. However, with an AI employee like Hermes, it takes on a whole set of tasks. It remembers what you talked about in every single session, and you can run it on a schedule so it is working while you sleep. You don't need to be up interacting with it. It's going to complete tasks while you are asleep. I like to think about Hermes in this way. I like to think about Hermes as the car and Claude as the engine of the car, right? We call this a harness, and it's a layer built around a model that allows you to actually do cool things. So here is the car. The engine is going to be your LLM like a Claude or ChatGPT, and your Hermes is going to do everything else. It's what's going to allow it to remember, use your apps, and drive tasks forward. So think about it in this way. Now, something awesome about this, as I mentioned before, is that it can use your tools, right? You can connect your calendar to this, your CRM, spreadsheets, inbox, docs and files, literally anything that you can think of for the most part, you can connect to this tool, and it can make tool calls, it can interact. So this is extremely powerful in that sense, where you're not going to get that from a regular LLM typically. Now, something that is also amazing about this is that you can reach it from anywhere at any single time. What I love to do is connect this to Telegram, and essentially you will chat with it on Telegram, or you could put it on Slack, any sort of messaging platform. It's actually going to go and interact with your Hermes. We're going to set it up so that you can talk to it, you can interact with it on your phone. So it's amazing. It's super simple, and it allows you to unlock that leverage of working from anywhere. You're not locked into your computer. So it's awesome, right? One of the most powerful things about Hermes is that it compounds with use. You're not going to just use it once and it's going to forget everything. Essentially, it is going to continuously remember what you spoke about, all the different tasks that it was assigned to, and it's going to get better every single time. So we like to call this the self-improvement loop, where essentially it's going to do the work. It's going to take on a real task. Then what it's going to do is it's going to learn from it. It's going to notice what worked, what went well, what went wrong. Then it's going to save that lesson. And then the next time that it needs to run this skill, it's going to run it way better, and it's going to essentially loop, right? So the next time you do the work, it's going to complete it flawlessly. Now, something that it does is it creates skills. So any workflow that you actually do becomes a reusable skill. So you're going to walk it through a task once. It's then going to save it as a skill. It's going to become a reusable playbook. And next time you're going to be able to run it on one command, and it's going to work better the next time that you actually run it. And like I said, it gets more useful the longer you use it. So month after month, it's going to work like an employee where it's going to be extremely smart. It's going to know exactly what you want and how to run that task. And it's designed to know your business, right? So it's going to know you. It's going to know how you write, how you decide, and how you like things to be done. It's also going to understand your customers, who they are, what they ask for, and what they'll need next. And it's also going to know your workflows and the actual steps behind the work that you do. So now I'm going to go into actually setting it up. Again, there's no code required in any of this. I'm not very technical myself, and I'm able to set this up and run this very smooth. So there's two ways to run it. Either you can run this on your own computer and host this locally, or what I recommend is a VPS, which essentially is going to be a computer in the cloud. And this is going to allow us to run this all day, every day, without you needing to have your computer on. It's going to be an AI employee that never clocks out, so it's going to continuously stay on. And you're going to be able to set it up once, and then you can manage this from your phone. So I really recommend taking this path, because if you set it up on your computer is always going to have to be on, and it's just going to create a bunch of friction. So I like to set it up in a VPS. And essentially, like I said, a VPS is just a computer in the cloud that is always on. It's independent of you, and it's cheap to run. All right, so now we're on Hostinger. This is where our AI agent is going to be hosted on our VPS. Hostinger makes it super simple to get started. They have a one-click installation option, and the pricing is pretty flexible overall. There's a couple of different options. I really recommend going with the most popular, which is going to be the KVM2. Essentially, the higher you go, the more you can do with it. But for the most part, you're going to want to just go with this most popular option. So click choose plan. Once you do that, you're going to be redirected to your cart. There's a couple of different things you can do. You can adjust the period, so you could stretch this across 24 months, and obviously it'll only be $8 a month, which is pretty sweet. Or if you want to go with a shorter term plan, you could just do it monthly. That's what I'm going to do in this case. Once you do that, you're going to see a couple of different options down here. I really don't recommend having this ready to use AI. That's just an extra cost you don't need. Instant web scraping, it's free. You might as well do it. And then after that, there's a couple of different options. I really recommend just keeping this on default and choose whichever server is recommended to you. And then from there, you're going to want to just click continue. And you're going to have to sign up for an account if you don't have one. All right, so once you log in or you sign up, what you're going to do after that is just pay. And then once you do that, you're going to land on this page that's going to say Hermes Agent configuration. What I like to do is just save this admin password, but then you're just going to click deploy here. Once you do that, it's going to say setting up your VPS. So we'll give this a moment here. All right, so now that that is loaded, you're going to most likely land on this page. This is going to be your Docker manager, and where you're going to be able to access your VPS where your Hermes agent lives on. If for some reason you land on the homepage and you need to get here, you're going to come down to the bottom under Dev Tools. You're going to see a VPS here. Click on VPS. You're then going to actually see your VPS here. Click Manage. Once you do that, you're going to probably land on this page. Click Docker Manager in the top left. You're going to see applications here. Click on that, and you're going to be where you need to go. So now that you're here, what you're going to want to do is access the terminal. This is where we are going to actually interact with our Hermes agent and get it set up. So click on that. You're going to see this loading screen. Now you are inside of your terminal. This may look a little bit confusing or intimidating. I promise this is super easy. So the very first thing we are going to want to do is actually set up our Hermes agent with a model so that we can interact with it. So the very first thing you're going to want to do is type in Hermes model. Once you do that, it's going to take a second. And it's going to give you a bunch of different options of what model you can connect it to. I like to use OpenCode Go. So if you continue to scroll down, you are going to see OpenCode here. Click on that. Once you do that, you're going to go down to OpenCode Go and click Enter. Once you do that, now you're going to need an Open Code Go API key. So I'm going to show you how to grab that now. Okay, so you're going to want to go to opencode.ai/go. You're going to land on this page here. You're going to want to click log in. Once you do that, log in or create an account, obviously. You are then going to land on this page here, and you're going to want to come down to billing. First thing you're going to want to do is add a balance so that you can actually pull from this account and use it. Obviously, it costs credits to actually use this agent, and this is where the usage and what you're going to be paying towards goes. Once you do that, you add a card. You're then going to want to go to API keys, and you're going to want to create a new API key. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to click create API key. I'm going to type in Hermes test. I'm going to click create. Once I do that, I'm going to then get an API key. I'm going to copy it here. Then what I'm going to do is go to my Hostinger, and there's going to be the area to paste in the API key. I'm going to paste it in. And we're going to paste it in now. Boom. Once you do that, you're going to get a message that says this base URL. You actually don't have to do anything here except click enter. You are then going to have a bunch of different options on what models you want to actually access and use. I like using DeepSeek V4 Pro, so click enter on that. And once you do that, you are now set up with your LLM, and what you can do is actually access the Hermes itself. So you're going to want to just type in Hermes. And once you do that, your Hermes agent is going to actually load up, and boom, now you are in the terminal to access Hermes, and you can ask it whatever you want. So let's say, hello, how are you? And it's going to initialize, it's going to reason, and we're going to get a response here. Hello, I'm doing well, ready to help. What are you working on today? So now your Hermes is effectively set up. Now, what I want to show you guys how to do is actually connect a messaging platform like Telegram to this, so you don't have to go into this interface every single time you want to interact with it. You can actually chat with it on Telegram, or you could set it up with any other platform. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to show you how to set up Telegram. Okay, so the very first thing you're going to want to do here is actually get out of this page so that we can begin setup of this. So you're going to want to hit Control-C. And it's going to bring you back to this main page here. And you're going to want to type in Hermes Gateway Setup. And once you do that, you're going to see a bunch of different options on what tool you can actually connect your Hermes to. And what we're going to be doing for this video is Telegram. There are other options like Discord, Slack. You can connect it to SMS, but we're going to do Telegram because it's a very simple setup, and that's what I personally use. So you're going to want to click enter on Telegram here. Once you do that, what you're going to have to do is actually go to Telegram. There is a bot called @botfather. Okay, so once you're on Telegram, you're going to want to create a bot via botfather. So you're going to go in the top here, type in botfather. Then you're going to see this bot here, and you're going to land on this page. You're going to want to type /new bot to initialize creating a bot. So we're going to do that. Once we do that, it's going to ask you what we're actually going to call it. So we'll just call it Hermes test. And then it's going to say, let's create a username for your bot. It must end in bot. So let's just do Hermes test bot. Keep in mind, you can name this whatever you want. You don't have to name it the same thing as me. So you'll click enter now. Oh, somebody's already taken it. So we'll just do Hermes test bot 444. Or yeah, let's just do Hermes test bot for Hermes test 444_bot. Okay, perfect. So now it's going to actually create the bot, and it's going to give you an API. So you're going to want to copy it. It's going to be in orange. It's going to be blurred out here, but that's what I'm going to need you to do is to copy that. Once you copy that, you're going to go back into your actually Hermes, and you're going to paste it in there. So do that. So you've entered in that API key. It's going to say successful if you typed it in right. I had a little bit of an issue there. But once you do that, it's going to say Telegram token saved. Now what you're going to have to do is enter in your allowed user ID. Hermes essentially does this so anybody can't just go in and actually interact with your Hermes bot. It has to be the exact user that's using it. So what you're going to want to do now is go into Telegram, and just like you did with the bot father, you're going to look for user info bot. So you'll come to Telegram, you're going to find user info bot. You can type it in up there. And essentially what you're going to get is a ID at the top. Once you do that, you may have to type in /start, but it should automatically do it for you. You're going to come in, grab this ID, copy it, and you're going to just paste it in over here. So we'll paste it in. You'll click enter. Perfect. Now, once that's done, it's going to say use your ID as the home channel. Do you want to do this? Type in Y for yes. And once you've done that, now it should be configured, and click done. And also, once you've set this up, you're going to probably want to go through and type in Hermes Gateway Stop to actually turn this thing off and restart it. And from there, type in Hermes Gateway, and this will actually restart the bot. So once you do that, you can come back to your Telegram. You're going to want to go to Bot Father, the bot that we created this whole thing in to begin with. You're going to see a t.me link. You're going to want to click on that. From there, you're going to land on the bot that you created, and now you can interact with this bot. So we'll just say, hello, how are you? And if we give it 1 second, boom, it's responded. And now you can actually interact with your Hermes on the server from Telegram. So you can access this from your phone, your computer, wherever you would like. And you don't have to go into this terminal, and it's working 24/7. All right, so the last thing we're going to want to do before our Hermes agent is fully ready to use is connect our tools to this agent. So it's actually extremely useful. You're going to want to go to composio.dev. This will be in the description, and you're going to want to click get started and create an account. I already have an account, so this is what you're going to see once you're logged in. You're going to want to go to connected apps. Now, once you do this, you can connect any of your applications to this tool. So they have things like Gmail, Slack, any single tool that they have under here, you can actually connect with Composio, and your agent will be able to interact with it. So connect whichever tools are relevant to you. And once you do that, you're going to want to actually set this up with our Hermes agent. So you're going to want to click connect my agent in the left here. And there's a bunch of different ways we can connect our agent, but the way that we're going to want to do it is through Claude Code. So you're going to see Claude Code here. You're going to want to click install. Once you do that, we're going to want to send this to our agent. So you're going to want to just click copy here. Once you do that, you're going to go back to your agent, and you're going to want to paste this in here. So we'll click paste and click enter. And we'll give this 1 second, but essentially what it's going to do is ask you for permission. Hermes has guardrails in place initially when you start working with it, so you don't do anything seemingly dangerous. So you're going to want to give it permissions to actually go ahead and start with this dangerous command. So you're going to want to click enter on allow once. Okay, and super interesting. Once I actually went ahead and pasted that in and I allowed it to interact or do that dangerous command, it essentially said, hey, we need your pseudo password. However, what Hermes did is found a workaround to actually install this without even needing my pseudo password. And that's what Hermes does best, is it actually goes on the fly and it tries to figure out if it runs into a blocker, how do we actually get this thing to install or work with this blocker. And that's exactly what it actually started to do. And it is actually working, preparing the agent. And you'll see now it says it's installed successfully. And to complete login, open this URL in your browser. So we'll just click into that. And we're going to click authorize, and boom. So now it is all set up. and we are ready to actually begin using our Composio. All right, so now we're at the point where our Hermes is all set up, ready to go. And something that I said in the beginning of the video that I want to teach you guys how to do is to load our Hermes up with context. Now, there's a million different ways we can do it. We could either just type out, all the context and, paste a little bit more about us inside of this box. But something cool that we can also do is have it search the web. So, hello, I want you to learn more about myself and my business. Here's my website, www.opperzy.com. And then after a few minutes of the bot actually searching, this is what it came up with. So first thing it did is it went to my website and it began scraping all of the pages. It went through, found my services, and it actually found myself as the founder, and it pulled out a bunch of different details about myself and my business. And funny enough, what it actually did is it went to my LinkedIn, found it, and obviously scraped that page there too. So you'll see myself. It found something about my education. It found how many followers I have on LinkedIn and what I actually talk about. So it's crazy what it was able to do. And it essentially saved all the information as context. So in the future, when I ask it a question about myself or just ask a question in general, it will pull that and help make responses with what it knows. So we'll go to our Telegram and we'll say, hello, can you tell me about my business? And once it does that, it's going to actually go through, it's going to pull that data. And now obviously it's learned a little bit more about myself. So we'll be able to do that properly. Okay, and now as you see, it has, here's more about your business, the founder of Opperzy, and a little bit more about who I work with, industries. So now this is trained on myself, my business. I can train it on way more data. I can give it more data, and it's continuously going to learn about myself, my business. So every single time I ask it a question, it has context to base it on. All right, so now I'm going to show you 3 use cases of Hermes agents. There are so many different things that you can actually do with these agents. I'm probably going to make a full video just breaking down all of the use cases, but I'm going to show you 3 of my favorite right now. So one of the most common use cases of Hermes agents is to get daily updates, right? We can set up what's called a cron job, which essentially is going to be a task on a timer. And essentially what we're going to do is set up a job to give us updates every single day on our data and what's going on inside of our company. So if you remember Composio from before and you go to connected apps, obviously these are all of the different apps that we can connect to our agent. And what I really want you to do if you're interested in setting up one of these types of tasks is think about, okay, what tools do I use on a daily basis and what data can I pull from these tools to give me updates, to make better decisions and just handle a lot of work that I would do manually by just going in looking for updates. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to create an agent, a job to actually pull data from some of these tools and give it back to us daily. So what I did is I said, I want you to build me a daily report at 10. In this report, I want you to go to my Slack channel, tell me what happened inside of it in the last day, and view my ClickUp and check my overdue tasks and send it back here. I also said just run a test version of this so I can see what the output will look like. Again, you can put any of your different tools in here. You could do Gmail, you could do your call recordings, but for the sake of just this video, I'm going to put in this. So I'm going to enter it. And obviously this is going to take a few minutes to set up the first time and get working and send you this first initial draft. But keep in mind that this task will be on a timer. So every single day at 10 a.m. it's going to essentially run this and you're going to get this message right away. All right, and after a few minutes, it came back with this update. So there you go, the live data from your Slack and ClickUp right now. Here is the clean summary. So this is everything that is going to be delivered every single day at 10. So it's going to give me my daily report. It's going to say my different channels here. A lot of this is going to be blurred out, but it's going to say, the updates over the last 24 hours. It's going to show me what went on earlier today. It's then going to show me what happened yesterday inside of my Slack. And then it's going to go through my ClickUp, see if I have any overdue tasks. And it said that there are no overdue tasks right now. And then it said that the cron job is live and that the next delivery is going to be today at 10 a.m. EST. And obviously it's going to send back here. We could have made it so it sent anywhere. It pulled any single tool, any data from those tools, but those were the two that I specifically requested. All right, now for the last and final use case of Hermes Agent. Essentially, what I'm going to be doing is asking my agent to go ahead and find 10 potential customers for my business Opera-Z. And from there, what I want it to do is research on the business and come up with 10 email drafts that are highly personalized and keep them there so I essentially can review. I said, I want you to find 10 AI and automation potential customers for my company, Opera-Z. I want to sell them in the financial space, and I want to sell them a speed to lead automation. Find the 10 and create a highly personalized email based on the research. I want you then to save it as a draft in my Gmail to review. So we're going to do this and we're going to see what it comes up with. Something to keep in mind, as time goes on, as I've been saying over and over, this agent will get better. So this first set of drafts may be pretty poor, but over time and as you train it on what's good, what's bad, it's going to be spectacular. All right, and after a few minutes, you're going to see that it came back with some pretty cool stuff. You're going to see that it actually found the 10 different companies to go after. It found the prospects here. It listed the company out, the growth, the angle, and you'll see across the board there is about 10 of them here as I suggested, and then also left some notes like each email is personalized, referencing their growth, and then it gave me some things to flag. So if we go into our drafts here, you are now going to actually see all 10 of them that it's put together. And you're going to see, obviously, these in the beginning look like they're AI written, but you'll see that it addresses the team, it addresses the growth, and then it goes through the opportunity that I see and what the company does. Now, keep in mind, this isn't how cold emails should be written in any sort of way. They should be way more personalized and not seem like they're AI written. This obviously is AI slop here, but you can kind of understand over time, if you train this agent, you can get a ton of emails sent out that are highly personalized, and you're going to give it context. So maybe the next time that you tell it to write these, you're going to say, get rid of these M dashes. And maybe you'll say, make it very less formal, make everything like one sentence paragraphs, have line breaks and things like that, and maybe keep it under 50 characters or 50, and it's something like that, right? And over time, it's going to learn, it's going to get better, but you can really see the power of this because it created 10 drafts within seconds once it was initialized. So that is the actual mechanism of scraping for Gmail and sending out personal emails. This is all that I got for the video. Hopefully these 3 use cases were super useful, super important, and hopefully you learned overall on how to do this. If you at any point want help setting up any of this at all inside of your business, I've included a link down below. Grab a time and I would love to chat with you.